Elon Musk and 50 Cent just dropped a truth bomb that's shaking the entire industry. But here's the twist, Diddy isn't the real boss, he's the distraction. If you've been focused on him, thinking he's the endgame, you've been reading the wrong map. This time, it's not just talk. Elon has something 50 Cent doesn't, data, receipts, and years of private DMs from the Twitter era. Now these are the kind of details that could flip the narrative in an instant. And that's why people are piecing it together like a pyramid. At the bottom level, you've got Jay-Z and Beyoncé. In the middle, the gatekeepers, Oprah and Clive Davis. And at the top, one name that ties it all together, hiding in plain sight. But it doesn't stop at studios and boardrooms. The conversation extends into influence, image, and even the pulpit. For months, 50 Cent has been dropping hints about this angle, so brace yourselves.
Gave me a raw deal because this industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it, and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, up them, Dave, why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what? Tell you the truth. I've even thought about coming back and doing another Chappelle show. Well, but if I do...
Before we dive in, let's set the stage. The Diddy situation extends far beyond hip-hop. And no, I'm not here to give you a long biography, but to address what you clicked for. 50 Cent recently dropped his Diddy documentary, The Reckoning, framing it in a way that no one else in the industry has dared to do. His point was clear, silence makes the entire culture complicit, so he stepped up and spoke out. Now here's where it takes a darker turn. One of the biggest claims circulating is that Diddy allegedly had hundreds of hidden cameras in his house, recording what went on at those infamous after-hours parties. Commentators like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal discuss it as if it wasn't just for fun, but as leverage footage, insurance to keep people in line without ever needing to say a word. And now the rumor is those tapes are quietly being moved around with some big names in a full-on panic. So why does Elon Musk change the equation? Because Elon owns X, and that places him at the top of a platform filled with years of private conversations between celebrities, politicians, and power players. When Elon sat down with Joe Rogan, he didn't just hint at it. He outright called attention to the gap between what people say publicly and what they've kept hidden when it truly mattered.
It's like the Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal, where he had, whether he was doing it himself, conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them. That's what I think. Whether or not he had help, I don't know. Whether or not he shared some of that information with people so they knew they had compromising stuff on people, I don't know. But clearly he was doing it for his own jollies too. There was something sick about it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that people in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing, kids basically, and yet they still fed him kids. And like, where's the accountability?
There had to be rumors. There had to be. They
had to know.
Yeah,
they had to know.
Cat Williams was talking about it on
exactly.
Yeah, on that podcast.
But like who's feeding him the kids?
Right. Yeah. And what videos do they have of these people where they're willing to defend him and they're willing to keep quiet about all this? Like how many people were compromised?
Yeah.
The whole thing is fucking crazy.
Crazy.
It's just crazy when because the nutty conspiracy theories is like, oh, there's a bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood, and you're like, come on, that sounds too kooky. And then you see like the Nickelodeon thing and all these different, you're like.
He brought up Jennifer Lopez not to start a political debate, but as a credibility test. If you were that close back then, where was the warning? Where was the alarm? And he implied the answer was nowhere. That moment ignited the internet because it forces one uncomfortable question. If someone was that close and never spoke up, what does that mean? Either they didn't know, which many find hard to believe, or they knew something and chose to stay silent. And if they stayed quiet, the next question is obvious. Why? Was it fear, loyalty, image, or protection? And if it was protection of whom? Now let's climb. Level 1 is Jay-Z and Beyoncé. And yeah, you might be thinking only level 1, just wait.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing. I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through. That changes now, Sean. You have no choice. that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter. They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly.
Jaguar Wright did an interview with Piers Morgan and made claims she wasn't supposed to about Jay-Z, Diddy, and the depth of their connections. People quickly noticed the episode was pulled, wiped, and buried, almost impossible to find. She also raised a question that's been circulating for years. How does Jay-Z sit with Gayle King on CBS and never get pressed about certain long-running rumors and industry ties? She didn't hold back, calling Diddy and Jay-Z monsters and describing their influence as something that has been suffocating the industry for decades. Then there's the Aaliyah theory that refuses to die. Jaguar took it further than most, claiming Jay-Z had a role in getting Aaliyah on that plane, framing it as personal and tied to those who benefited afterward. None of this has been proven, but it keeps resurfacing because Jay-Z has never directly addressed it. And online, silence doesn't read as neutral, it reads as a choice.
Think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane, to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who was a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who was a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened, and yet they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know Diddy.
Then another detail made people question everything. When Diddy was charged and lawsuits started piling up, one name instantly raised eyebrows: Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's personal lawyer. Reports indicated that he began showing up in Diddy's legal orbit, prompting the obvious question: why is Jay-Z's attorney suddenly involved here?
Only showing up here.
That's suing Tony Busby. Spiro is a partner, and Alex Spiro is Jay-Z's personal lawyer.
Oh, so it's probably Jay-Z then that's doing the suing.
Of course they've used Kevin's name,
Why
but
is
it
it
ain't
not?
Kevin. Why is Alex Spiro popping up everywhere?
What do you think is going on in Hollywood right now? What are you hearing? Because I'm hearing
Mass panic. Mass
Everyone-
panic.
So because no one's talking publicly.
No, it
But
can't. That's why they came up with the story. Well, you know, there's a party inside the Diddy party, and I went to the first party, but I left early. I never made it to Diddy After Dark. There were public relations teams right after Diddy got arrested running around telling everyone to say that.
Of course.
The question is this. If all you went to was the first party and you didn't know anything about the After Dark, why would you say, I left early? Why wouldn't you just say you left when the party ended?
Exactly.
Because how would you know
That
there
the-
was another party
Exactly.
if you weren't informed?
Exactly.
If you went to the Diddy party and nothing happened and it was the first party, your speech wouldn't be, oh, well, I only went to the first party.
Right.
I didn't go to the after party. You wouldn't say that because you wouldn't have known about
Exactly.
it. You would say, I don't know what anybody's talking about. I went to Diddy's party. It was a white party. It was dancing. It was wild. But at the end, we all went home.
Right.
That's not what y'all are saying.
Nope.
You're saying, I didn't go to the second party. I only went to the first. The only thing you're proving is that you're hiding being there
Yeah.
because you wouldn't have known about another
Exactly.
part.
The theory
The theory is simple: control the narrative before more names get dragged into the light. Because if Diddy ever speaks out, a lot of powerful people could go down with him. That's why the conversation keeps circling around Jay-Z's rise. You can't mention that era without bringing up Big L. Big L helped open doors early, connected Jay-Z to Dame Dash, and negotiations were reportedly moving forward for Big L and his people. But just days after those talks started, Big L was killed in a drive-by shooting in Harlem. The case remains unsolved, and Jaguar has suggested that Big L's death was the first in a series of mysterious endings that seem to clear the path for certain people. Coincidence? Maybe. But when people start lining up timelines, they say the pattern becomes unsettling. Now let's move to level 2, where it stops being about fame and starts being about leverage. Oprah Winfrey and Clive Davis. With Oprah, critics point to her proximity to Harvey Weinstein, photos, events, public support, even while whispers were already circulating, and that's where the debate starts. Someone with her platform could have forced the spotlight earlier, but she didn't. In this space, silence is often read as protection. Then there's the controversy surrounding the school she funded in South Africa. Early allegations, public fallout, people fired, statements made, but critics argue that parts of the story never fully added up. And that's why it continues to be drawn into conversations about oversight, influence, and what powerful people might have overlooked. Add in resurfacing photos and rumors, and people begin describing opera as quiet power, the kind that doesn't need viral moments because one call can shape who gets booked, who gets buried, and who gets labeled difficult. Now Clive Davis. Clive is a legend. He built Arista Records, spent decades at the top, and launched careers for giants. That's why people don't treat him as background noise. Suge Knight has claimed for years that Clive and Diddy weren't just mentor and protege, but that Clive allegedly described their relationship as deeper than business. There's no public proof, just a claim that keeps resurfacing because it fits the bigger narrative. Diddy didn't rise alone. And when reporters tried to press Clive about Diddy, people point to moments where he appeared uncomfortable and refused to answer. Not proof, but it becomes another clip the internet replays like a subtle tell.
It's memory working with Diddy.
You know, personally, I've got to tell you, he really is a major star in this film tonight. He's his spokesman all the way through. I met him before I ever knew of him. I met him when he was 21 years old. And when we met, you know, he played me Craig Mack Flavor in Your Ear. He played me 3 cuts from the forthcoming Notorious B.I.G. album. And we talked for hours and hours about music, and I poured into his dream. And I financed Bad Boy Records. And we had an incredible run, an incredible period.
Then there's the Whitney Houston angle, another story people refuse to let go. The public debate continues to circle her final days, the people around her, the conflicts behind the scenes, and whether the official version of events explains everything. Family comments over the years have only fueled that suspicion, and the internet uses it to ask one blunt question. How does Clive Davis, with decades of heavy rumors surrounding him, never face consequences? This is where the fall guy theory comes into play. Many believe Diddy is taking the heat, while the real gatekeepers stay protected, operating in places where headlines can't reach. Now we hit the top of the pyramid, and this is the name that shocks people the most: Bishop T.D. Jakes. A pastor, a spiritual authority, and yet 50 Cent has kept poking that name for months, keeping it in the conversation. The theory is simple: if influence reaches the pulpit, then this isn't just a celebrity problem, it's an ecosystem. The way it's framed is that Diddy needed legitimacy, cover, respectability, someone trusted to stand by him and make him look clean by association. And that's where some believe T.D. Jakes fits in. People also point to how T.D. Jakes was used in the documentary Rollout. Clips were placed at specific moments, almost like deliberate signals. In one segment, when Little Rod talks about waking up sore after being around Diddy's party circle, viewers notice T.D. Jakes suddenly appears on screen talking about love and rampage energy. Many believe that wasn't accidental. They think 50 Cent was planting a message. Then Cat Williams gets pulled back into the mix. He predicted that 2024 would be the year everything gets exposed, no matter who you are, and the internet treated it like a forecast. As Cat Williams calls out Bishop T.D. Jakes, all eyes are on the responses from T.D. Jakes and Geno Jennings.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, T.D. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
And when T.D. Jakes was confronted about the Diddy allegations, his response was what made it go nuclear. He didn't offer a clean denial. Instead, he said, "Keep it moving," and then added something many took as a slip-up. Even if it were true, he could repent, suggesting he had the power to cover sins. Then he went further, stating he didn't even need to repent for this. That's when it exploded, because to the public, it didn't sound like innocence, it sounded like deflection. Jaguar Wright poured gasoline on the fire, saying that if Bishop Jakes had ever been around Diddy's party circle, it only pointed to two motives: money or access. She framed those environments as leverage zones and claimed there's video and audio in circulation, powerful figures caught on tape doing things they never wanted tied to their names.
Jakes was at a Diddy party. There could only be two reasons: money or sex. That's all that happens at Diddy parties: money and sex.
Cassie has turned over substantial amounts of evidence to the feds. I'm told that after Cassie had a long conversation with Blank, I have to protect this person. They're going through a lot right now. And her lawyers, she finally was convinced to give up the videotapes and audio recordings that contain.
Whether any of that holds up is another question. But once the public believes receipts exist, the fear isn't the rumor itself, it's the possibility of footage. Jaguar went further, saying multiple men have come forward with stories that in their view connect Jakes to that world. No proof has been shown publicly, just claims, alleged accounts, and insiders suggesting that legal moves are happening behind the scenes. It continues to spread because it aligns with the same pattern people have been pointing to all along. Power protects power until it can't. Then Gene Deal added his angle, questioning why a religious leader would even be near parties described as anything but clean. He said it's hard to explain that presence unless you're either endorsing the environment or participating in it. He also hinted that he's heard tapes may surface, and when they do, the conversation won't be speculation anymore.
Diddy and TD Jakes.
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin. Drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or when we told this happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he needs to see it for himself, man. Maybe he needs to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties.
And that's the real threat.
And that's the real threat hanging over everything right now. It's not opinions, not debates, but proof. Now widen the lens, because this doesn't stop at just one industry. When Elon Musk sat down with Joe Rogan, they weren't just talking celebrity headlines, they were talking power networks and why high-profile names move the way they do. Elon's framing wasn't about policy, it was about fear of exposure, fear of what happens if the wrong doors open. Rogan brought up Reid Hoffman and asked if he seemed uncomfortable, and Elon gave a one-word answer: yes. They then compared the structure to an Epstein-style compromise model, the idea that once you capture someone in a compromising situation, you don't need to win arguments. You control them. That's the core of this entire pyramid. Not fame, not talent, but control. And once you see it that way, a lot starts making sense. Why certain people never speak, why certain stories vanish, why certain names stay protected no matter how loud the noise gets. Dave Chappelle said it differently, but the message hit the same. He's talked about the industry like a trap, not just contracts, but control. And when people asked why he didn't just take his show somewhere else, he compared it to running from one plantation to another, different masters, same chains. So if someone that successful felt boxed in, what does that say about everyone else trying to survive inside the machine? This story isn't over. More names will be dragged into daylight, more footage rumors will surface, more untouchables will suddenly look touchable. So here's the real question. Do you think TD Jakes is actually the top of this pyramid, or is he just one more layer hiding whoever sits above him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you thought this was wild, the next video goes deeper into the names people think are next in line: Meek Mill, Ashton Kutcher, Naomi Campbell. The list keeps growing, and the internet thinks the walls are closing in. We'll be here for every twist as it unfolds. See you in the next one.